Grow Show. Randy Brothers, my friend, what is going on?
Man, I am excited, man. This is such a kind of a surreal moment that we've been doing this for 2 years now. I think
Hmm.
we've missed maybe a handful of weeks in the last 2 years, every single week, Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Mountain Time.
Hmm.
And here we are 2 years later. A ton of people have been impacted. We've had a ton of amazing guests and gotten some amazing feedback, and it just continues to grow and continues to impact an industry in a positive way. So, man, I'm ecstatic. This random, idea of, hey, let's just go live and start sharing some information about roofing and marketing and see what happens. Turns into one of the top, fastest growing, and most recognized podcasts in the industry. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Startville Grow Show, episode 100. I'm ready to go, and I'm a little anxious, a little nervous this time because I think it's going to get real today. We brought in a couple guests, two people that are very very special to me, obviously. But before I really now bring them on, I want to go back a little bit. We're going to talk a lot today about kind of the history and just kind of reflect a little bit on the last
Hmm.
10 years of building a roofing company. And one of the key takeaways, when it comes to building a roofing company and coaching roofing companies is the reality that you can't do it on your own. Like nobody's going to be able to build a great organization by themselves. Like there's no, individual skill sets that allow someone to handle everything and do it all at a really high
Hmm.
level, at a really quality, within their strength zone. So, I learned that I was blessed. I got lucky to kind of learn that early on. And I happen to have people in my life that are really good at some of the things I'm not good at. And those things combined, created the foundation of what has been an amazing company that not only supports our families, but supports the families of a ton of people day in and day out. So yeah, it takes a team effort of really sharp people that are all have different skill sets to be able to build and grow a great organization.
Hmm. And so before we introduce the guests and how we decided on the guests for episode 100, I was told that there was going to be some roasting of Randy. Is this
Oh,
true or is that fluff? What's the deal there? Because I'm interested in that part for sure.
Oh, I'm there.
So
We can do this.
Randy,
oh
how
no, I'm
about
a little nervous.
how about you bring on your guest for your roast here for episode 100, right?
Yeah. So two of the most influential people in my life that not only I've known my whole life, but I've also have been a part of the entire journey of building this organization. We brought my employee number one, Debbie Sinclair, who's my mother and who's also kind of over the last decade become an expert in bookkeeping for roofing contractors and QuickBooks
Hmm.
and those sort of things. And what's crazy about it is roofing, as we all know, is a very unique type of business model, and it can be very challenging. And who would have thought that hey, mom, come work for me. We're going to build a roofing company. 10 years later, like we're working together, consulting and coaching other roofing companies in a very unique niche opportunity with coaching and training, consulting and training QuickBooks and bookkeeping. So she's our resident bookkeeping expert. She's been with us for the whole journey, and we definitely wouldn't be here without her. So my mom, Debbie Sinclair, who's been on the show, I think she was
Hmm.
on like episode 2 or 3, one of the first guests
Yeah, she
we
was
ever
one of
had.
the
Something like
first
that.
guests.
Yeah, a long
Yeah,
time ago. Yeah.
yeah.
And then below her is my sister,
Glad
Riri,
to be with you again.
who is also is the current CEO of our company, and she started with us 9 years ago and was mom's assistant and has since just surpassed every challenge we've given her, and
Yep.
she's positioned
Yep.
herself
Yep.
as
Yeah.
one of the most dynamic women in all of roofing. She gets sought out to speak at different conferences, and she gets to coach and train and help others, and it's just a really cool thing to be a part of and to have these two amazing people. I get to be on the show 100 times and get all the credit, but the reality
Hmm.
of it is these two are really the foundation that allowed for this to happen. So really grateful to have you both, Debbie and Bree, mom and sis. Thanks for thanks for taking time out and joining us for episode 100.
And thanks for giving props where they're due. That's right, Bree. Right? Really, we're the
Of
women
course.
behind the men.
Absolutely.
I agree with that. I agree with that. So
Roast number one.
roast number one has started. So what I'm thinking is, we're sitting, in front of the virtual campfire, right? We're talking stories about building elite roofing. So we'll start with you, Debbie. You're the first employee. Randy calls you up and says, "Hey, will you work? Will you work for me at Elite Roofing?" How did that conversation go, and what did you tell him?
Well, it was really kind of interesting because at the time I literally was not working. I was being a nanny for my other daughter. I had just left a job that was having serious issues with a merger, et cetera. And I was like, I just really don't want to do this anymore. But had I have still been in that job and I still had my 5 weeks of vacation and my regular paycheck, I would have never said yes. I'd have been like, I am not the risk taker. I have
Timing is
since
key.
become a risk taker since I've been around my son and I watched him do it and I watched him succeed at it. So I've gotten a lot braver. But my initial reaction was, well, I'm not working right now. Why not?
Right. Why not?
Yeah. And of course I wanted to
not?
support
Yeah.
him. And why not? Right.
Yeah.
So I was very, very honored that he asked me. I mean, not a lot of moms get asked by their sons to help them start a business. And it was
Right.
an honor. I always knew he was going to have his own business ever since he was little.
Yeah.
So when the time came, I was like, oh yeah, heck yeah, I'm going to be a part of this.
And so how was getting going then with him? How was that first year or so?
Easy
Easy, really?
compared to later. Oh yeah.
What was so easy about it?
Well, it was new and exciting for one thing.
Yeah.
We had a couple of investors to where, we had enough money to start. We didn't have to borrow any money outside of the investors. We started slow. We were learning slowly, and we got to like dip our feet into the edge of the ocean and not get swallowed up and slowly get out there until we were up to our necks. And then, so I could go on and on and on about that, but we got Bree come in right away pretty much. And really
later.
because we were all three of us learning the ropes together. We wore a ton of hats, but we got to all learn it together. You know what I'm saying? And
100%.
And get it going. And it was fun and easier than later.
Well, I think one of the key things that was, somewhat intentional and somewhat accidental is that mom has always been like process oriented. Like she just from day one just started creating processes and writing procedures out for every little thing in the business, and that carried on down to Bree. And now fast forward, it's like we have thousands of procedures and processes in place, over the last decade that we can just plug and play, and now we get to share with our members of the academy. So it's just, it all started just one at a time, creating procedure, creating a process, figuring it out, analyzing it. If you make a mistake, figure out what the mistake is and do it right the next time, and just that process of learn and grow and really that's what it comes down to. I think that's the baseline for all of entrepreneurship. But real quick though, I know, we definitely, we got two of the key influencers in here, but we're missing our brother in arms, my business partner, Cody, who's got to give him how he's watching. What's up? He's in the hospital now getting ready to have a baby. So
really?
Yeah, gotta give love and shout out.
Tell him congrats. What's up, Cody? Congrats.
Yep. So
We're
we're
bummed he
excited
couldn't
about
be
that. What's up,
here
man?
because he was a big integral part too. We're bummed he couldn't be here.
So were you guys a big old like a big old happy family when you guys were working together, or was there some conflict, or how was that? How was working with the fam building up a business?
Who wants to take this? I'll take this.
Bree does. Yeah, Bree's got it.
You can start this.
I'll start it. So my mom and I always have like butt heads in the organization. So we fought quite a bit in the beginning, but we lived together, you know what I mean? We worked together, we were together all the time. And so that was a bit of a challenge. She fired me a couple times and I would just call Randy. Randy and I have always gotten, I mean, I can think of a handful of times that maybe we've gotten under each other's skin or gotten into it. But like for the most part, me and him have like, we yin and yang well, I think. So, but Mom and I, but the blowouts were always Randy and my mom.
We're a lot alike in certain ways, and then old school meets new school. You know, we definitely had our challenging moments. But again, it's like I think all business, like you read books and stuff like that, and it talks about like healthy conflict, right? So your natural abilities to be defensive and to react emotionally, that's where we struggled a lot early on. But as we grew as people, as entrepreneurs, as leaders, we were able to figure that out too, how to have conflict and resolve that conflict in a healthy way. We're both learning, we're both growing. You got to find your moment to compromise and find your moment not to compromise. When you put your foot down and when it's just not worth the argument or the fight. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges with working with family. It's so easy to just get involved with an emotional reaction, and it's hard to really separate that family emotion from a business decision, right? So we've had to learn that over the years. I think we're in a place now where if we're just, it's business. During the hours of 9 to 5, it's business. Outside of that, we enjoy ourselves as family and hang out with the kids and all those sort of things. But that had to be learned. I believe that had to be learned.
Well, if I could jump in here, one of the things that Randy, you have brought into the business world since then was taking personality tests and understanding how people ticked and what their skill sets were. And I think that the three of us, along with Cody, had to learn about each other's skill sets. So like I'm super, super detail oriented to the point where I drive my daughter crazy. And I just can't help that. That's how I'm raised. That's how I'm not raised, but that's how I'm wired. And Randy is not as detail oriented either. So we had to learn to have our skill sets work together as opposed to allowing them to come against each other. Does that make sense? So understanding skill sets, understanding personalities, how we're wired and how the other person is wired, I believe is huge. And honestly, I could say I think every company ought to do this to some level, because you do learn skill sets on how to work with each other. You do learn why people are different from you, and you do learn how to not take things as personal. That it's not against you. It's just they are wired different. When you're working with a bunch of people, and you also need the different skill sets to make the company work well. And then also I wanted to point out that, especially with Randy and Bree in the beginning, because I was the accountant, I always would have to tell Randy, okay, this is my accountant hat, but then this is my mom hat. This is not your mom telling you can't spend your allowance. This is your accountant saying you can't buy that. It's not healthy for the business. So those kind of things you have to realize happen. I mean, these are childhood filters that would come up into place sometimes.
Oh, 100%. I would bet that the bulk of the arguments that we have had were filtered by childhood, for sure.
I can only imagine. Well, so
I like what Randy said. I agree 100% that debate making is a brilliant thing in business. And if you don't have debates going on in your business, I think you should worry. I think what's cool about being in a family is, we fight, but we're also crazy committed to each other. So even if we get into an argument, it's not like we're like, okay, that's it, I'm done. There's none of that. Like, it's just like, how do we grind harder to achieve what we have to achieve? Because we're not going to quit on each other. Becoming
emotionally healthy is huge. Healthy conflict resolution, and all that stuff is huge. And each person has to be committed to doing that within themselves as well, and to be able to defer and lay down and and apologize and, say when you're wrong. And it works if everybody's committed to that, like Bree said.
Yeah, and I think families in the roofing industry is just so prevalent. I would venture to say nearly all roofing companies have some sort of family connections, whether it's a husband and wife working together, brother or sister, cousins, aunts, uncles. At one point, we've had upwards of 10, 11 family members throughout our journey working together. We've had to learn and figure this out. But working with family can either make or break a company. You're like Bree said, you're never going to duplicate the loyalty you get and the passion of someone wanting to work together to strive to achieve goals if you have a tight family, but it can also break you if you act selfishly and you're doing things that aren't to support the well-being of the family structure, and you're acting out of your own selfish desires. I think that's really what the catalyst is for a lot of families that are affected negatively in business is they see things just one narrow-minded way, and they can't step outside themselves to see things from a bigger picture perspective. So if you are struggling, if you're working with family, take a step back, know when to put your foot down and know when to back off and apologize and understand when you're wrong. Very, very true what Mom said.
So if you guys had a chance to kind of reflect on that startup phase, right? That grind of really getting this thing going, you can analyze your wins, your mistakes. What advice do you guys have to other roofing companies who, are just kind of getting going and are in that startup phase?
Hire Randy to help you go through it.
the mom with the close.
Thanks, appreciate the plug.
How come you can't close like that, Randy?
We can.
I know. I don't know how to sell.
Maybe, and the apple didn't fall too far from the tree. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't like to be a salesman, but seriously, we did have some people help us along the way. But what Randy can offer with helping roofers along the way can save so many pitfalls and so many things. You don't know what you don't know until it hits you in the butt.
Yeah, very true. Knowledge, this day and age, knowledge is power, right? I mean, the faster you can learn, the faster you can avoid mistakes or grow your business or grow yourself. And with the age of technology and leveraging virtual training and coaching and all the things that now we all are really passionate about. And right here behind me, I mean, we have an entire very sophisticated virtual training platform that's geared towards teaching people how to avoid all the headaches and the pitfalls that almost broke us a number of times. I mean, there's plenty of times where I did not sleep thinking, man, are we going to be able to survive one more week? Like there's a number of times. I mean, I still remember getting the phone call from Mom, like, you're not getting paid this week. Who should I pay? Who should I not pay? That conversation happened multiple times.
Yeah.
Let's avoid that. Let's avoid those situations.
Not as many times as it could have, though.
Absolutely.
And I want to say at this point too, I think our faith helped us here, because I was on my knees a lot, praying a lot, and there'd be like a Thursday where I was like, oh, we don't have enough money, cash flow to pay everybody, and we got to pay our salesmen, we got to pay our laborers. And are we going to be the ones who don't get paid? But we needed our paychecks. And then some kind of miracle would happen on Friday, on payday. We'd get some big check from a customer that we didn't expect. Something that we couldn't, and it'd come in and we could just make that payroll just in the nick of time. So that's kind of how, a lot of times we get 11th hour answers, so to speak.
That's just tenacity, right? That's business. You got to learn, you got to grow, and you got to have faith that
and not quit. Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Well, that'll kind of go into a question that Aubrey has. Is there a mistake, issue, large oversight that you guys remember that scared you guys and made you feel like the business might fail, or wonder if it could be over?
Yeah. Trying to expand too quickly. Within a couple of years of starting our business, we had tripled. We had we started and within doubled 2 years in a row. And we're like, man, we got this. So we're like, let's open a new office. Let's go to a new state. Let's be storm chasers. And we spread ourselves so thin that it almost crippled the company. All the money that we had to invest in traveling and trying to, get people going in a different location, really took away from the opportunity at our current location. So be careful not to get too big too fast and not to expand too fast. You got to make sure that you have your systems so dialed in that you can rinse and repeat and have the cash and the people to be able to execute if you're going to expand your business. It takes cash, people, and process. And if you don't have all three of those, hold off and be patient in growing your business. That's what I would say is probably one of the biggest, moments that we were like, oh crap, are we going to make it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In a humble spirit, because just like Randy said, like if you go into another market and thinking that it's going to be like your market, like you have to be humble and like willing to learn, and adapt to whatever comes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So then let's take it to the scaling process then, right? So you guys try to scale the company. It clearly didn't go the right direction, right? Because you guys are trying to, chase the storms or whatever it might be. You kind of go into different markets, right? So you realize that this isn't the right fit for you guys. What was the next step in properly scaling that company?
Systems, processes. I think, again, we started from day one creating systems and processes, and probably the two most important systems that allowed us to scale, well, really three important systems. One of them was the handoff, like the system of the process of going from sales to production, and then having a sales training program to follow.
Yes,
We
that
built
was
our own
key.
sales
That was
training
key.
program instead of just hiring people with random experience from all over the place and throwing them out there hoping they're going to perform. We created a process and we made sure every single salesperson was trained and understood what that process was, and they followed it, and then they were able to then turn the job from sales over to production, and then the production process, be able to produce a job and coordinate the closing and the billing and the invoicing of that job. You got to have those three processes dialed in: sales, production, and invoicing, in order to scale your business. If one of them is weak, make sure it's fixed, because you're going to cause a bottleneck one way or another. And probably the most common bottleneck is the back end, is the collection process, and we learned this the hard way as well. Theoretically, to grow your business, all you got to do is hire more salespeople, right? Just throw a whole bunch of salespeople out, sell, you can grow your business. If your production department's not built to be able to handle that, you're going to be bottlenecked. If your collections department and your cash flow isn't built enough to handle that, and all the investment it takes to hire a bunch of salespeople, you're going to bottleneck. You're going to have cash flow issues. A lot of the stuff we learned the hard way, a lot of stuff we were able to work and figure out and build a system that was allowed us to scale our business. And obviously I don't want to hog it all, because I know they have some great insight on this stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Bree, what do you have in terms of scaling the company?
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Like you have to have vision. Like you have to be able to think 3, 4, 5 years down the road. People are like, okay, I can build this system and it works right now. Like my mindset is I want to build this system and it work with 20% more revenue or 30% more revenue. Like that's always,
Or
every time I go into building
revenue.
a process or system, like that's my objective. Like I want to build something that can sustain not what I'm doing right now, but what I'm going to be doing in 3 or 4 or 5 years. And that's really worked. That's really worked very well for us, especially on, well, I guess I could say on the production side, but on our accounting side too. Like our accounting side is built to scale, and like we can handle a massive amount of work flow through with the same amount of people in the summer as we do in the winter, because our systems are just built for a lot of volume.
How are you building systems that are built for lots of volume, for 5 years down the road? How does that actually work, or what does that look like?
Oh my gosh, you're trying to make me verbalize my brain. It's hard.
First, you have to have the right software. So we're on QuickBooks Desktop, and we use the Job Nimbus, which can handle the volume Bree's talking about, and it syncs to each other. So having a good software and building it up from the bottom with a terrific foundation is important too. And luckily, Bree and I were skilled in those directions.
Yep.
And those ways to do that. So that would also lead me to the people. Hiring the right people and not having a lot of turnover is huge, huge to be able to scale up. So,
How
we
do you not
learned.
have turnover though? How do you not have turnover? Because that's an issue that I hear all the time. That people have
Opportunity.
turnover.
Opportunity. You create opportunity.
And
You
value.
grow. You grow and invest your team. Like
You treat
I
them
like
right.
to think like you want to make the people that work for you realize their potential. And if they build value into what they're doing, they're gonna stay with you. Like I am a valuable part of this organization.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We encouraged,
Amen to that.
trained every one of our staff. Everyone was just as important as the other, regardless of where they were at and how much they made. If you ask anybody, why do you stay at your job? They're not going to say because I get a good paycheck. They're going to say because I'm appreciated, I'm liked. What I do is of value, and you'll see that worldwide. And yes, we try to pay well too, but we go to great efforts to keep people and not devalue or disrespect them in any regard. Honestly, I think we can say we have never missed a payroll when it comes to employees or our laborers, our subcontractors. We've had them. We have some of them from the beginning too, right, Bree?
Yeah.
We still have some of our tenure from the beginning, and that's rare. That doesn't happen very often, but because of the respect and making sure that we did not mess around with their paycheck and we treated them right, we listened to them, they had a voice.
Yeah. All those things. We can go a whole show on that. However, this show would not be possible if it weren't for our sponsors, and that's a perfect segue to highlight organically. We already, it happened organically. That's how good of
Debbie already mentioned.
good of a
Debbie
relationship
already
is
mentioned
here. Our headlining sponsor that's been a sponsor of this show from the beginning. We're so grateful for them. So grateful for the relationship we have over at Job Nimbus. And I'm not even going to pitch this. I'm going to just tee up Bree and Debbie and let them pitch Job Nimbus because Bree is a resident guru on Job Nimbus, and she helps.
She nerds out.
Our other key sponsor, the Roofing Academy. She helps our members implement Job Nimbus and dial in their systems within Job Nimbus as well. So, what has Job Nimbus done for you in your career and your abilities, Bree?
Job Nimbus really is the foundation. When I say that I build systems that can be scaled, Job Nimbus really created the platform for us to be able to do that. And so we went paperless the same time we went on our job side. We went paperless the same time we went with Job. As soon as we switched over to Job Nimbus, we also went paperless at the same time.
Big time saver.
Really beneficial for streamlining. That you save you are doing everything twice if you are not paperless.
Essentially.
Twice.
You are doing things. You are doing everything twice because everything lives in the digital age. Not much lives on paper anymore, and so that was huge. I always say that because of Job Nimbus's flexibility, there's not a system that you have that you can't build inside of it. So even if it's not we have systems that aren't even job related that we build inside of Job Nimbus because it has the flexibility of workflows. For instance, our subcontractor tracking, we do that inside of Job Nimbus through a contact workflow. It has nothing to do with our jobs. It's completely separate from that. Everything's automated. And so that is the power of Job Nimbus. You can do what you want to do. If you can dream it, you can build it in Job Nimbus for the most part. And so.
Awesome. So another, and we'll drop the sales pitch pretty quick, but another amazing, new app, new software that's been in development, that's launched recently, that is an absolute game changer for our business and for contractors across the world, across the country, is One Click Code. And a good friend of mine I've worked with for 10, 12 years, and even we worked with Debbie even back in the day. We're starting. So when Bree, before she worked up to executive level, she was working in our production department, and we were one of the only companies that took the time to go through and and connect and research every single jurisdiction in our market. And there's probably 40 or 50 of them. All of them have different codes. All of them have different nuances. And we had to make sure we built the project right, ordered the materials right, and got the supplement done right with looking up and researching the code. So we had to do all this legwork every 6 months to have this ongoing code sheet that we used to do. And what they did at One Click Code is they put that into an app. So now all the jurisdictions, not only in Colorado, but all across the whole country, it's a one click access, enter the address, and you can find the code for that roof. So now you can use that for supplementing, you can use it for material ordering, you can use it for pulling permits, and it's a revolutionary product that's
huge.
coming
So
out,
huge.
and we're really excited to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of tedious work that nobody wants to do.
Right.
Why didn't they come out with that like 6 years ago?
Hey,
I know,
you had to
right?
grind. You had to earn your stripes, Bree. That sucks. Too bad.
Bree, you should have written it. You'd be making all the royalties on
Oh,
it
the
now.
moolah. Well, so we got a question from Jake here. He says, our siding subs are good guys, but we're struggling to make them take pride in their work more than just try to go fast as possible. Any advice?
Bree, that's on you.
That's such a hard question.
Good question. Yeah.
It's a solid question. I don't know if I have a brilliant answer for it. It is a challenge. Subcontractors are a challenge because you don't have the time with each individual person. Your relationship is with the crew chief for the most part. And so you don't have the opportunity to build into those team members. And so if your crew chief isn't building value in, like I talked about with your own staff, like that is a challenge. I would say just make sure that your company is a company that people want to work for. And so if people are lining up to work, they're more commonly going to want to follow the guidelines that you set for them. If they know that there's somebody in line to get like make your company a gold star,
Mm-hmm.
so that subs are attracted to your organization so that you can pick through and kind of weed through the ones that aren't going to be willing to wiggle and and take value in their work more than just like, I need to get as many jobs done as I can in this week so that my paycheck is as big as it could possibly be at the end of it, So, but that is, I mean, if we can find the goal, if I had the gold answer to that question, like we'd be millionaires, because that is one of the largest challenges in the entire construction industry, I would say, way beyond trades.
It's hard to put integrity in people, because that comes from within. And there's different various degrees of integrity too. You can be an example, and you can set up a bar that is also gracious, and encourage them in what they did do right, but then also be able to encourage them to do better if they're lacking. And sometimes you can come alongside of them and show them and teach them. Sometimes you can't. It's like that old saying, you can only lead a horse to water.
Yeah,
Like I said, you can't put the integrity in them unless they want to have that, but you can appreciate it and bring it out of them.
Yeah, I think it comes out of motivation, right? You got to kind of, in relationships. So if your relationships with the crew chief, you got to do what you can to try to coach and mentor that crew chief to help develop that crew chief as a leader that can then develop and coach and mentor his people below him. But it comes down to that relationship between you and the crew chief, you and the workers, the installers, and him or he or she and the installers. But ultimately motivation, right? People are motivated, by either extrinsically, which is just money. Sometimes they literally, all they care about is getting paid on Friday and either paying for their family or getting their beer, right? Some people have a little bit more of an intrinsic type of motivation that they like the recognition and they take a lot more pride in their work. They're motivated by accomplishing goals and seeing the finished product of what they're doing. It's hard to figure that out, and hard to, you can't just say, I only want intrinsically motivated people, but the way you treat them, and the way you get to know them allows you to be a little bit more flexible of how you incentivize and how you try to motivate people to execute their job.
And I also believe in, go ahead.
I would say that too. I like that. Like the relationship aspect is so big. I like you do have that influence with that crew chief. You know, and like when I was in production, like my crew chiefs were my buddies, like those are my work husbands, you know, like 100%. And so I still love those guys, you know, I don't work with them as much directly anymore, but like I love those guys. And so and I would say if you ask them, they would say the same thing. Like I love Bree, like I care about her, you know, and so they want if you have that kind of influence over your crew chief, he's going to enforce a bit more with his team because he's not going to want to let you down if the relationship is there.
Right.
He's not going to want to disappoint you because he cares about what you think of him. And we do that well with Elite, with the way we've built our production department, because we make sure that our production coordinator is like the communication hub for our subcontractors. And they're not having to hear all this, you know, because it can get kind of like hairy in the field. You guys know that. And so, you know, sometimes that like man-to-man salesman to crew chief, like it can get, you know, rough. And so we've really been able to like establish like a communication hub with our production department. So things can flow through one person and out to the next. So maybe they're not as an emotional response, you know, so we're making sure everybody's being treated with respect and heard, almost like a mediator, you know?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Well, you know, guys, we did promise some roasting of Randy, though.
Oh, no.
So let's go with some stories.
We're avoiding it.
I want to hear some fair. I mean, it's been 10 years of, you know, working with this guy over here, right? The startup phase, right? Scaling the business, wins, losses, right? Learning on the run. I mean, let's hear some. You guys have some favorite stories of some elite stories that involves Randy, or what do we got here?
I just thought of one, Bree. Do you remember when Randy decided he wanted to come in and video us so that we can, I don't know what we were going to be on a TV show or something? He was videoing us. Do you remember?
It was like White Dad, Black Dad.
Oh no! Don't even talk about that.
No, reality show. They came and they filmed us, and they were thinking about making our company a reality show.
So all of a sudden, Randy's all geared towards going on.
He was down.
He wanted to go on online and on YouTube and on I don't know where else, and he was all focused on that. It was like, well, the business. What about the business? It's like he was going to leave the business in the lurch.
So he was to become like an actor, a reality star. Or
yeah. He wanted to be a reality star.
Really?
Yeah, they came and filmed us to see if they would be interested in the business becoming a reality show.
No way. And now he's just got to you know, settle for the podcast. Hey, is that what happened?
This is way better.
Do you have the trailer?
I think I do still have the trailer.
Oh, you'll have to send it to me. I looked for it the other day. I couldn't. We have a trailer. It was called White Dad, Black Dad, because both my exes, one white, one black, used to work for our company.
I heard Randy before he met Chrissy, was thinking about going on The Bachelor. Was that real or was that fake? What's the deal there? Is that fake news?
I didn't know that one.
I didn't know that either.
No, we're not going to go there either. There was a time. Back a long time ago that I did get a phone call from them, but that was it. Leave it at that.
You did? You got a phone call from them? You didn't tell us that.
We're not going to talk about that. I'm happily married to the most beautiful woman in the world, and
yes, you are.
Another both reality show half of my life were avoided disasters, so I'm grateful for that. So this is the closest thing we got to a reality show is
All right. Well, so let's talk about the future then, right?
I got one more roast.
All right, that's fine with me. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Please. Yeah.
And this is a warning to all the other roofer owners out there too. Please do not try to go to your accountant mother and say that you want to write off your brand new RV by wrapping it in Elite Roofing logos. It's not going to work.
That one didn't fly.
That was one time where he got really mad at me, but I stood my ground. I said, no, wrapping your RV in Elite Roofing logos is not a good way to try to make a write-off.
Hey, I still think if we use it for job sites and traveling for commercial, it would work. All right.
That would work though, right? Let's hear the accounting question. Right? A county, would that work
No.
if you bring it to
No.
commercial job sites and stuff like
Nope.
that?
No, Nick, whose side are you on, sir?
Well, I'm curious about that one. I mean, that might open up some doors for the future. I don't know.
Nope.
It's okay. I guess I'll
I
just
feel
pay
like-
for my camper myself. It's all right.
That
I
doesn't
did
seem
lose.
fair.
I did lose the argument with the ATV though.
The ATV. So the ATV's a write-off then, or what?
That's back to that argument. We needed that ATV, but we didn't know.
We
it was
ended up using that. We used because we opened up a snow shoveling business
Mm.
for the winter to keep
Yeah,
our
snow removal.
roof techs busy in the winter. So we were able to use the ATV, put a snow plow on it, and used it to plow sidewalks. So he did get away with that one.
You get to go at that one. Nice work. Nice work, Randy.
The reality of it is that it's been used outside of snow removal like 3 times. It's literally that's what it's used for. It sits in the office and they use it for snow removal. We got snow coming in a couple of days, so it'll get used. So
Well, and if it comes down to it, when you have something used in the business and used in personal, you just let your CPA know with your percentage of what was used for business and what was used for personal, and that's how you legally deal with that.
Yeah.
Glad we have the bookkeeper and mom on the show today.
Yeah.
Stay legal. That's one of my other big pieces of advice. We have been through a 2-year audit with the IRS. We've been through an audit with unemployment for our state. We have been through the annual audits with workers' comp and general liability every single year. We always come out smelling like a rose. And I will tell you what, there's a lot of work to get that way. But you do not want to get on the wrong side of the law. You will lose your business in a heartbeat that way.
Yeah. And I'll offer up coaching on that. That's one of the things that we focus on with our clients at the Roofing Academy, and we offer coaching to help people get their books in order, get their QuickBooks in order, make sure they're job costing properly. And another thing, make sure you're separating work cash flow and personal cash flow. Like you've got to separate that out.
Completely separate.
Very,
Yes,
very
completely.
important. A lot of young entrepreneurs don't really get that. I didn't get that. Luckily, I had smart people behind me to figure that out. But you definitely don't want to get yourself into a financial bind with the government. So if you need help, you want advice, give us a call. We'll check. We'll work through that with you.
You can understand the thought process. An entrepreneur is thinking it's my business, it's my money. Well, yeah, it is in that regard. But you have to account for it separately. You don't let your business pay for your haircuts. You take a draw that includes what you need to go buy your personal things. It's the way you account for it. You just don't use your business card to pay for personal things.
Hey, I got to look good when I'm selling roofs. Why can't I write off a haircut? Come on.
Exactly. No. So there are things that are allowed by the IRS. There are things that are not. And there's lists out there if you want them. But the point being, use your personal cards for your personal stuff, your business for your personal, and take your draws from your company to pay for your personal. It's that simple. Yes, it is your money, but it's got to be accounted for as separate entities.
Yep. Well, so what about the future then, guys? What are you guys looking forward to at least for the future? What does the future hold? What are the future goals that you guys have?
We're going to take over the world.
Take over the world?
We're going to retire.
One roof at a
Mom's on the back 9 of her career.
Yeah,
I'm on the back 9.
Retire.
I have nothing else to prove. I'm good. I'm good with my career. I literally am I have it on my app. I have how to go over here. It's on my app. 2 years and so many months and so many days and so many hours left till I retire.
Boom.
But I'm helping.
2 years left. She goes, I can't do it.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I want to retire yesterday.
2 long years.
But I help Randy now with his the Roofing Academy. I'm not full time at Elite Roofing anymore. I really had to step out of the way because Bree was just knocking me over. She was like,
boom.
She was climbing to the top and just walked all over me and kicked me out.
And
I don't know
about foundation. She built a beautiful foundation. For me,
only on the office side. See, Bree went in as production. As soon as she figured out she couldn't be my assistant anymore, that wasn't going to work, she went over to production. She literally quit working for me and went and started in production all by herself. Learned it inside and out. And I would also recommend don't have anybody build out your job Nimbus unless they understand production. It was her understanding of production that helped her to build out her job Nimbus. and make it be the beautiful thing that it is. But yeah, I have no idea what goes on in production. I don't want to know what goes on in production.
I know, but what's crazy about that's most accountants' response. But production makes your life hell in accounting if they don't know what they're doing. That's making your life.
Yes. But that's how we work together. That's how we work together well. Is wherever we had to intersect, we would meet, and she worked her butt off making sure that the back office could work with production. She worked really hard to make it work for us, and we worked really hard to compromise and work with them too.
Right. Well,
and to make it a seamless machine. Mm-hmm.
Well, now that seamless machine, what's next for the seamless machine, Bri?
We're gonna keep. Oh, have you met my brother? This is my brother, Randy. Oh,
is that? I think you're pointing in the wrong direction. Are you feeling okay? You good over there?
I can't tell where he's at.
It's hard to know. It's in reverse. Yeah, it's in reverse.
We're always gonna push growth. There's never a time where we're gonna flatline. So I don't know if we don't have like a 10-year revenue goal per se, but like we're going to continue to push and grow. And we were just talking about how many salesmen we need for this season coming up, because we want to, like Randy's always said, like we're going to be the household name in roofing. And I don't even know if that's a thing, but like if it's a thing, like we're going to reach that. And like that's what I love so much about being able to like stand behind my brother, is like, as far as he is going to run, like I'm going to jog behind him, and you know what I mean? And like,
she's going to pick up the pieces. I'm kind of like a bull in China shop,
She's going to glue the China pieces back together.
Well, Aubrey has another good question here that we can kind of start to close it out with. It says, Bri, I listened to your interview on the Why Not podcast. What up? And you said that when you became CEO, it was scary, nervous. How was dealing with that? How do you overcome that?
Yeah, I'm on the downhill side of that. So I've really kind of been able to step into my shoes as CEO now. Like I said for any of you that didn't listen to that podcast, like I felt like I had to be like I felt like I was wearing shoes that didn't fit me. Like I was, and it unnerved me. And I'm super confident. That's part of one of my strengths, is that I can go into a situation very confident that like I can handle it. And so it shook that confidence. And but like I'm really able to like climb out of that. Like I just wanted to do everything right now. Like I had so many things that I wanted to like implement and like start tracking and get data on and start, now I'm the fiduciary. Like I need to look at these things, and like I just needed to accept that like I can't do it all right now, and that it just needed to be over time. And here I am, like almost a year and a half in, and like those systems are now there, and we have this beautiful master business plan where all those numbers populate for me, and Randy too. And so it's just been, I'm wearing the shoes now. They fit. They're my size.
They fit now.
They were not 6, 7, 8 months into this. I don't even know if I shared that with Randy, but I was in a bad headspace. Because I didn't want him to think I was letting him down. That was part of the whole thing.
See, I think part of the beauty of what we've been able to do, and there's intentionality in leading in that sense of trying to, put someone in a position and give somebody an opportunity to achieve things that they don't even know they're capable of achieving. Bree's a prime example of that. Like my partner and I saw something in her that she didn't even know herself. And it took the time and energy and the effort to be able to get to that place. And the reality of it is, she is much more wired and way better of a CEO than I ever was, and let alone my partner. So we know our role. We're good at what we do, and we know what our strengths are, and we stay in our strength zone. And she's really come into her own strength zone. And she's running one of the largest roofing companies in the country, and she's 32 years old, and she's executing really, really well. So, don't beat yourself up too there. And I'm super proud to just sit back and watch and be a part of it. She creates systems. My job is to try to break those systems. And, So I gotta give we got a couple of our guys going back and forth. Cody and Rick, two of our tenured awesome sales guys. They're both just great people and great parts of the team. So they're going back and forth saying that they think the sales team is the perfect size. So maybe we won't be hiring anybody this year. I don't know.
I know, but you guys can't say in the middle of the season, "Hey, Bree, I can't take any more leads."
Ah, good point.
There you go.
And then we won't hire any more salesmen.
See, this is that good conflict that we're talking about. Right here.
Yep, there we go.
Live action.
Jake has a question. Do you know of another Bree out there looking for a job? There's a lot of Brees out there looking for jobs, but you got to find and develop them. It's your responsibility to actually create opportunity as a leader and develop them into that role. It wasn't just a plug and play. It took 9 years to develop her into the position that she's at. So have patience, invest in good people, trust your judgment, hire slow, fire fast, hire character, train skills, follow those principles, and you can find great people and develop great people. And when the timing's right, get out of their way.
And let me add in there, do not be afraid to put a woman in as a production person. They are wired for it. They're good at it.
Organized.
They're organized and they got the details and the relationship skills. It's a really good position for a woman to be in, especially if you're a manager. So start her in production. Make sure that they have the CEO kind of has to understand a little bit about every department in the company. And she had that opportunity to do that. So do that with your fledgling, your starters. Make sure that they get a back office and production and maybe even a little of understanding of the sales to where they're going to be able to manage the whole company, all the departments. They have to be able to be good with people without being people pleasers. And they have to be organized and they have to have a I'm not going to fail attitude for starters. Failing is not an option for my daughter.
Or Randy.
Failing's not an option. Or Randy, yeah. Actually, for me and my other daughter either. Just
Danielle, yeah.
No, yep.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't. We won't do it. We will fail, we will fall, but we'll get up and keep going. That's the difference.
And go back after it.
Yeah, we'll admit we're wrong and we'll brush off and say, okay, start over.
Well, guys, I think is that a wrap, Randy? What do you think? Episode 100, man. Do you have any reflection points that you want to add in on here quick or what?
Man, time flies. I think, if you want to build a great company, don't be afraid to be a visionary. Don't be afraid to reach for the stars, and don't be afraid to find people that are better than you. You can't do everything. Understand that you are strong in certain things and you're weak in certain things. It's okay.
Be humble.
Humble, hungry, and smart. Those are the things we built our personal foundation on the people we hire and develop, and you got to own that, and don't be afraid to dream big and think big and work hard. And we appreciate all the people that have helped us get here. I'm very grateful for the people that have literally, these two sacrificed a lot, and they committed their whole entire lives to this organization, not knowing what was going to happen. Not knowing if I was ever going to make it happen or not. They took a risk and they committed, and we've invested in each other, and we built something great that we not only get an opportunity to live great lives, but now we get to share that with other people. And to me, that's the ultimate, life to live. And that's the ultimate way to be able to achieve success, is helping and helping others and seeing others develop and creating opportunities. So it's awesome. We appreciate you guys joining us. For those of you who are listening on the podcast, make sure to click the like, subscribe, leave us a review. If you're watching online, we appreciate you. Make sure you click the like button and join us next time. We go live every Wednesday at 6 o'clock, and 100 episodes in, we're just getting started. We're ready for big changes this next 100 episodes, and we're going to continue to grow, and really excited about the future. And definitely take a look at our sponsors. The Roofing Academy, theroofacademy.com. If you want to get on a call or connect with either one of us, all three of us are coaches in the program, and we're able to help and consult you on different things. Make sure to check out oneclickcode.com as well as jobnimbus.com. And we are grateful for them and grateful for you, Nick, for hosting 100.
Thank you,
100
Nick.
episodes,
Yes,
and
you
you've
rock.
been crushing it and helping produce with your company, Suma Media. Thank you. It's been an amazing journey, amazing 10-year journey building this company, an amazing 2-year journey growing this podcast.
Yes, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And remember, guys, no matter what's going on out there, there is opportunity to find out there. So let's have a fantastic 2020. Let's crush it, guys. All right.
All right.